It takes time, and it also takes a different mindset to make sure that people understand that as women, as girls, we can do everything, and that takes sacrifice. I believe I'm the only one that's currently doing night court, and this is completely free for everyone.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Tea and Talk. Assalamu alaikum. Mera naam hai Leena Shah and I'm the host of this podcast, which is brought to you by International Arts Society, which is a brainchild of Basit Jalili. And of course, हमारे इस podcast के director हैं Suhail Nawaz. And Faisal, thanks for all the tech support there and the BTS as well. आपने हमें देखा YouTube पर, Facebook पर और इतना ज़बरदस्त response दिया, उसके लिए आपका बेपनाह शुक्रिया है. आज जिस podcast में और जिस guest के साथ मैं आपके सामने हाजिर हुई हूँ, हम उनको सिर्फ उनके नाम से नहीं पुकार सकते, हमें उनको जज कह के पुकारना होगा. Because right now in the studios with me is Judge Sonia Rash. Welcome to the show. कैसी हैं आप?
Thank you so much. I am fine. Thank you for allowing me to be here and talk to all of the audience out there.
Thank you, Sonia, for being with us. So, Judge Sonia Rash, Precinct 3, Justice of the Peace. We're going to start off with a little definition of justice of the peace. Like you can see that I put on a jacket today because I'm like, I'm going to court. So, you know, I don't want the judge to actually, because we've seen a lot of videos like that when the judge is like, you're not dressed properly, you can't be in court. So, justice of the peace, what kind of judge is this justice of the peace? What kind of cases do you handle?
That's a really good question. But first, let me just back up. So today, and please forgive me for what I'm wearing, because normally, you're right, I would also be wearing a nice suit like as you are, or a jacket, but I was out and about. We were out there doing some campaign work, and so that's why I'm wearing jeans today.
Right. And you can see her t-shirt. It says, elect, re-elect Judge Sonia Rash. And Judge Sonia Rash is doing her campaign. And I know that she does a lot of door-to-door as well.
I do.
So we're going to go into details of that and what's the difference between campaigning now and the campaign that you ran before. But you are the judge, the justice of the peace. A lot of people, especially in our community, we don't understand how the whole city government works, how the whole court system works. In our head, there is only one judge that you see in Bollywood movies, Judge Sahab, main nirdosh hu, you know, something like that. What kind of cases do you see?
So a justice of the peace court, the kind of cases that we do both civil cases and we do criminal cases. On the civil side, you have to bring cases that are damages are no more than $20,000. So it's $20,000 or less of civil cases. Not only that, but we also do truancy cases. That's for students that don't show up and don't go to school. We also take care of debt claims, and those are for credit card people who run up credit card debts and they don't pay them off, and of course the creditors want their money back. The other type of cases that we do, I mean, there's a lot you can do in the civil process and the civil cases that we handle in the Justice of the Peace Court. But the main thing I think people need to remember is if you're filing a lawsuit, it needs to make sure that your damages are less than $20,000 or $20,000.
Okay.
Now on the criminal side, we do what we call Class C misdemeanors.
Okay.
Those are fine only. And the majority of the cases that we get in criminal cases, they're traffic tickets. They're, for example, a tail light that's out. They're things that could be non-moving violations, like you've run a stop sign, things like that.
Going 39 at 35.
Yeah, well, let's hope, you know, it depends on the officer that gives you the ticket. I always have to remind people, you are not going up against the court. It is not the court that's bringing the ticket. It is the state of Texas.
Right. So Judge Sonia Rash, she is pride for our community. And the reason I wanted to have her on the podcast as well is because she's the first Pakistani woman to be elected to this office in the state of Texas. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
How does it feel?
No different than anything else. But yes, the first Pakistani female, but the first Pakistani to be a justice of the peace in the state of Texas. I will tell you, when I go sometimes for my classes or judges school that every judge has to go to, I do notice that there are not a lot of people, if any, that look like me. Actually, I don't think I've ever seen somebody that looks like me at these classes. Not to say that there are not some, but I've never seen any.
Right. Now, this year, we have a few Pakistanis who are actually running for the Justice of the Peace. They claim that you do not need to be like an attorney or a law background. Business owners, putting out their posters and going door to door and spending their millions and saying that you do not need to be a lawyer. We know that you have 20 years. You have a law degree and you have practiced for 20 years. Tell us how this background actually helps you in being a better justice of the peace.
Thank you. So when you're a justice of the peace, you're a judge, and what you are doing is that you are taking the law and you are applying it to the cases for the parties or the people who come to your court. When you don't know the law, it makes it very difficult to have and make decisions. You're then not basing it on the law, you're basing it on feelings. And no judge, no courtroom should be basing their decisions on feelings rather than what is the written law. And you apply that law to the facts. It's very difficult when you're not a judge, because what winds up happening is that a lot of times when you're not a judge,
when you're not a lawyer,
when you're not, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
I apologize. When you're not a lawyer,
Uh-huh.
what winds up happening is not only are you making decisions based on your feelings, you're also making decisions that are not accurate. And I'm not saying all the time, but if you don't know the law, how are you going to base your opinion or your decision on what the law is?
Right, right. But there have been justices of peace who actually have not have any background in law,
That's
but
correct.
yet they were elected. So are they elected? Is there like a prerequisite that you need to have a background in law, or just anyone can go for it?
So I'll tell you this, in Texas, the reason why justices of the peace don't have a law is because of the rural areas. There are areas out there in Texas that have less than maybe 1,000 people in it. And so to find a lawyer to do the position is very difficult. And that is the reason why they've created this type of position for people who do not have a law degree. However, in cities like ours, where we are growing every day, in Houston, for example, too, growing every day over 1 million, we'll be over 1 million in Fort Bend County fairly soon. You do not need a law degree to do this. However, there are people out there, as I said before, the ones that are doing it, the ones at least in Fort Bend County, most of our judges, they are lawyers and they have been practicing. I believe there's maybe one that's not, and the person who is not is doing a fantastic job, but they worked in the court system and they also worked in the system of Fort Bend County. So they were around it that was their job for years and years.
So they have understanding.
They have a complete understanding of it. But even then, I will tell you, we all help each other, and we get phone calls, not on a daily basis, but we do get phone calls about, hey, here's a situation. I don't know the law about this. What do we do? How do we resolve it? And we help each other out, and the particular people or the person, we help each other out when that happens.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. So I'm happy to see that, the justices of peace actually work together to keep our community safe. Now, you are currently a female, a Pakistani, at the same time a lawyer as well, and you are up for re-election. Now, we talked about, why it's important to have the, background in law in order to be a good justice of the peace.
In order to, absolutely. I mean, I always say this to people, how are you going to make a decision on the law when you don't know the law? What has wound up happening in the past is that when we have not had lawyers on the bench, we have had lots of people who appeal their cases. Because when the law is not correct, they have every right to appeal their cases. And that has happened too many times in courts, and especially obviously in our Justice of the Peace courts, because of the people who are making the decisions are not lawyers.
So at the same time, they are people who have been elected to this position, but not someone who's Pakistani and a female. Now, what kind of discrimination did you experience in your previous campaign once you got elected, when you're in the system, and now that you are, getting donations as well, running your campaign as well? Elections are not too far off. They start off by the, I think, third week of February, less than a month to go for that. What kind of discrimination did you see? What kind of challenges? Is there a glass ceiling there here as well?
Well, there is a glass ceiling.
Okay.
And unfortunately, we still have a long way to go in order to break this glass ceiling. Even though we have come far, we have not come far enough. I will tell you, just amongst our own community members, there is still some sort of stigma going on with regards to females and their positions in the government. I will say that the reception that I get now obviously is a lot more welcoming than I did when I first ran for office. My previous opponent back then was a male, and I did notice that he did receive a lot of the support from our own community members, even with people obviously that he has no contact with or he does not know, just simply for the fact that he was a male. But we are still striving right now to make sure that as females, our voices are heard, not only in our community, but everywhere else. I can tell you also some of the, I don't know if you call it discrimination, or some of the things that I've seen being treated a little bit differently when it comes to fundraising, for example. Obviously, running for office is not cheap at all, and we have to fundraise.
Like, how much is it? Like, first of all, do you have to spend your own money? Are you putting your own savings in it? Do you have donors? What kind of supporters do you have?
So, it's both. I'm a grassroots campaign, and what that means is that the majority of the money that I get are from everyday people like you and me, and it's not a lot, and I don't expect anybody to give a lot. I always say, if you can give $5, $10, $15, hey, that is good enough, because obviously not all of us can afford a lot. And not only that, you are giving money not to me, but to the campaign, in order for us to be successful, in order for you to be and get your justice when you come into the court. What does that mean? It helps in order to buy those signs. It helps in order to buy advertising. It helps to get our words out there, to get the campaign out there, and postcards and things like that. But again, I've noticed that when we do have fundraisers, or we do have organizations and groups, and I'm very grateful for doing this, but I noticed that our male donors donate about 50% more to someone who is a man than they will the females.
Wow. You know what, I would like to really call this out. This is such hypocrisy. I mean, we come from a country, especially talking about Pakistan, we come from a country that we've already had like a female prime minister, Benazir Bhutto. We have like the current CM of Punjab. She's a woman as well. Yeah. So many women have been there in power. So it's not new for us. We've seen it in our neighboring countries, in Bangladesh as well. So for us, it should be like more of a thing that we do out of pride, that the women in our community are actually coming forward. I think that, this is, blatant hypocrisy from the men of our community, who are not supporting women as much as they support, the males who are running for office. Have you called them out?
No.
This is the first time we're doing it on the show?
Well, I'm going to say this. I want no one ever to feel bad to donate, because again, I'm grateful when I get $10, $20. So I don't think I would ever tell somebody that's too little, or you've given donations to this person this much and donations to me this much. Because I think that getting somebody to give you a donation is out of hopefully not only out of the kindness of their heart, but they want to see me or you or any other person succeed. And so I'm not the type of person that will call them out to say that you need to provide me more of a donation and compare it to somebody else, because again, I'm very grateful for anyone who decides that I am worth it for them to see myself and to also see me in this position reelected for them.
Oh, that's so amazing. I love this side of you. It's, this is the goodness of your character that's coming out. But let me be the one to call them out and say, you need to, for those who want to see women from our community, from the Pakistani community, from the Desi community, if you want to see in the future these women come out and hold offices, you got to be more generous with the donations, because I know these campaigns are not cheap. One, re-election is harder than getting elected for the first time. I can just imagine, because before you are actually just running for your campaign, you get elected, you are the Justice of the Peace for 2 years. And
4 years.
4 years, okay, so you're Justice of the Peace for 4 years, and now it's time for re-election, so now you have to go to court, you have to manage the cases,
Right.
you have to manage your family, you have to raise the funds, and then you have to run the campaign, you have to go door to door, you have to figure out Facebook ads.
Oh, yes.
So
That's
how is campaigning this time around?
Well, it's about scheduling, making sure you know what to do, when you're doing it, and it's about also, don't get me wrong, I have some good people. I've got some volunteers that help me.
Amazing.
And it is amazing. It really is, because these are people who take time out of their own day, their busy day, and they help me every now and again, and I appreciate that very much, because nobody does anything by themselves.
Right.
You know, no matter how much I would like to say, yes, I've done this all by myself, that's not accurate, because we all need help every now and again, and we all need help, period, in life. But it's difficult to juggle sometimes. But I think if you do a good time management and realize that, okay, I'm going to spend this much time at work. Of course, work is work, right? I have to go to work. I get up in the morning. I go to work. After that, I come home. I pick up my kids. We get them done, whatever I need to do, feed them. Then I'm out. For myself, I spend about 4 hours a week, if not more, outside, getting to know the community, making sure they know who I am. I'm a firm believer that it's not just about sitting on a bench and making rulings. It's also about helping the community, serving the community. So I want to make sure that as much as I can be out there for our community. And when I mean our community, I mean all of Fort Bend and all of the people that live there. Even though I'm in Precinct 3 only, I still feel the need that we are all in this together. So whatever I can do for everyone, I definitely will try.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. So we have a long list of your awards and your experiences, your community involvement. But, when it comes to re-election, I think one of the best gauge is to see, कि आपके call or fail में कोई तज़ाद तो नहीं. Do you understand that? So it's a very famous Urdu, it's like an idiom you say. कि आपके call is the word that you say,
Right.
and fail is the action that you do.
Okay.
And tazad is the contradiction. Is there a contradiction between what you say and what you do? So when it comes to re-election, I think the best gauge is to see what you said before, and did you actually live up to your promises or not? Did your actions prove what you said that you're going to deliver? So you promised a night court for working families, because a lot of families, everyone's working, so they get to come to night court. And another thing that you mentioned that you promised was convenient online hearings and trials. Now tell us, we know that you're delivered. Yes. She has delivered on both of these promises. Were there any challenges in implementing this? How has it impacted people who come to your court? And then we're going to move on towards your promises for the next term.
Sure. Thank you. So were there any difficulties? Absolutely. I say difficulties. They weren't really difficulties, but we had to overcome hurdles, because we had to make some changes in order to do this. And we had to make sure the mindset of all of my staff, I like to call them my team, that we are all on board with this. For night court, of course, I'm going to need some staff members. And so we've had to change schedules around when it comes to night court. For online hearings and trials, that was a simple fix. Notice a simple fix to do that. It wasn't very difficult to do, but again, when people are not used to doing it a certain way and then you implement something that's different, different. It takes time, and it also takes a different mindset to make sure that people understand that this shouldn't be something that should be difficult to do. It should be something that helps our community and helps the people who are working during the day. So I think it's benefited the community members or the people who come into court now, because they don't have to choose between work and getting their day in court. They don't have to choose between leaving their child with somebody during the day or, coming into court and again, having to figure out what to do. Or nowadays, I tell people that we are sometimes not able to leave because not only because of our children, because we're taking care of our elderly folks.
Right.
And so I did give people an option that they just have to request, and we provide that to them so they don't miss out.
Wow. So how many other justices of peace in Texas are doing this?
Now,
and were there any that were inspired by you and incorporated this in their courts as well?
So I'm not sure about how many in all of Texas, but I can tell you at least in Fort Bend County as a justice of the peace, I believe I'm the only one that's currently doing night court.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's amazing. Night court and, online, because, nowadays a lot of people, the lifestyle is such, we don't even want to go out for food, let alone go to court. And choosing between going to work or taking time off work, that, affects a lot of people as well. Let's go back to when you made these, before you tell us what are you promising for the next term once you're re-elected. How did you get these ideas when no one else is really doing it around you? How did you get these ideas? And what was that moment when you realized, okay, I'm going to be Judge Sonia Rash? What was that moment? Was it a long-term plan? Or was it a dream? Or was it an intuition? Did someone inspire you? Tell us the story.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you one of the stories, but just to let you know, generally, I love the law, and I feel also that everyone has a moral obligation to help as many people as they can. I think in me, I love doing what I can for as many people as I can. And I'm not saying that everyone has to do that, but that is how I feel. And so putting my two passions together made me realize that this is a great position to do, because not only do I get to help people in this position, but I also get to use my law degree, use the fact that I'm a lawyer to be able to do this, so that when people come into our court, they know they'll be heard. They know that I will listen. They know through not just my legal expertise that they are going to get a decision based on the law and based on doing what is right. But on the side, what we do are our community outreach programs. And what that involves with our community outreach programs, we bring the experts to you, to the people. How do we do that? Is I provide various topics. We do wills and probate. And this is completely free for everyone in Fort Bend County. All of these topics we've done pathway to citizenships. We've also done such things as expunctions and non-disclosures for people who have gotten in trouble before and they want to know, how do I get this off my record? I mean, we do a voluminous amount of what I like to say is outreach programs or educational programs, and I welcome everyone to take advantage of it. These are experts coming to you, basically, and where you're not having to go out and spend money. You're not having to go out and spend weeks or days going back and forth from a lawyer's office or whoever's office. We're providing that for free, and that's part of, I think, being a judge means being a public servant, and that's part of serving the public, in my opinion.
Wow, that's beautiful. I love what you said. Your conviction is to, we all have a moral obligation to help as many people
as we can.
We can. Wow. A lot of people don't, I see people from our community especially, a lot of people are running for different positions in the office, but I'm getting a sense from watching their speeches, I'm not going to name anybody here, though I should, but from their speeches, I gather that they have a very Pakistani mindset about these positions. Because in Pakistan, running for an office means, oh, you are powerful. You know, you get power, you get some kind of status. You know, if you're an MNA or MPA, MNA ka beta hai, MPA ka beta, you know, it's like in our heads somewhere, it's like a powerful position. But here in the US, when you're running for these offices, like you said, you are a public servant. People don't realize that. What is your opinion on all these people from our community who are running? Do you think anyone is really qualified to do and, you know, get elected for the position that they're running for?
Well, I'm sure there are people that are qualified, but here's what I would tell most people. When you are deciding who you want to vote for, do your research just a little bit. Look them up, Google them, see what their background is. And we hold so many different type of debates or meet the candidates. Come out, meet your candidate, ask them questions. Ask them, why are you running? What is your experience? You know, that makes a big difference. And then you, as a person, make that decision. Is this person qualified? Does this person have the experience? Do they know what the job entails? And will they work at their job? Will they be there? Will they help the community? And how? I think people have forgotten that sometimes that they can pick up the phone and call. They can pick up I say pick up the phone, but they not only pick up the phone, but they can also email these candidates. Come to these events when they see them and ask your questions. Unfortunately, we don't get a lot of people being involved in it. And I understand, we're all busy. We all have families, or, you know, we've got other things to do, so we can't always be somewhere. But if we want to be part of the decision making, we need to be a little bit more involved in the people who are running. And I have always said, you don't vote for somebody because of their race, their religion, or where they come from. You vote for them because they are the right person for the job. They believe in what they're doing. You know, they've got the heart for what they're doing. They've got the experience for what they're doing. Because if you're just voting for someone just because you feel that, oh, well, they're from the same place as I am. Now, trust me, I would love to get all the Pakistanis and all the Indians votes, but I will tell you this, that is not a good reason to vote for somebody, because if you do that, imagine people will also do that to you. When it's time to go somewhere, they will be thinking, okay, well, I'm just going to get this person just because of the way that they look, just because of the way that where they're from and things like that.
I love that. I love what you say there. Yeah. So, you know, everyone, you guys out there, you need to do your research. At least just, it's so simple.
Google.
Just Google. Yeah. And the names are on the website. You can just Google them and you can, you know, pick out your favorite candidate and go and meet them, because I know I see you so many different places. You are making it a point to go, and all this outreach that you're doing, all the events that you go to and the people that you talk to. Now, election day is coming very soon. We have a window of about 10 or 12 days for
close to it. Early voting.
For early voting as well. Judge Sonia Rash says that you have to go and participate in early voting. Don't wait for last day. What are your promises? What you're thinking to do for the next term that you get elected? What do you want to accomplish?
Well, I want to continue to do what I'm doing right now. I want to continue to do our night courts and maybe add more night court dates on there. Continue to do our outreach programs, but specifically with our outreach programs, I am going to make some outreach programs that are made just for our law enforcement. Just for the people that are first responders, law enforcement, veterans, because I do feel that we also need to be taking care of them. So some of the things that I want to do on my next term, God willing that people come out to vote for me, thank you. I want to continue with night court. And add more days for our night court so people have more night court options. Not only that, I want to reach out to our law enforcement and to our public people who put their lives on the line every day and create outreach programs specifically just for them. Of course, I'll continue with the outreach programs for all of our communities, but I also want to hone in or target in on some of the things and some of the needs that they may need. One of my other ambitions is that I'm realizing that we're having a lot of issues with mental health. in our community. And it's always been a very taboo subject. People don't want to talk about mental health in our communities. They think that it's they think that getting help is not something that, we sweep it under the rug. And what I would like to do is, especially with our young people, because we do truancy in our court, and that means we help our young people who are having problems not going to school. I try to find out the root of the cause as opposed to just a punishment for them. And sometimes they really need people to talk to, counselors, things like that, psychiatrists, psychologists.
Okay.
So I would like to start something, and again, it's a big project though, but I'd like to start something where when they have an opportunity to talk to somebody, and they don't have to feel that there is a record of them talking to somebody, that it affects their college, that it's going to be on some sort of list that they went to go see a psychiatrist, a psychologist, a counselor, whatever it may be. I think a lot of times in certain communities, because it's such a taboo that they don't go see anyone. People don't go see anyone, and they hold in whatever they need, whatever that they have inside of them. And I think that mental health is something that we need to be talking about, and we need to be telling everyone that everyone needs a help every now and again. Everyone needs to talk to somebody every now and again. So I would like to create some sort of system for our kids. I'm talking specifically our high school kids, where they can have an outlet to talk to somebody without the worry that this is going to be on their permanent record somehow.
Wow, that's amazing. And I think especially the younger generation, they do need a lot of help when it comes to mental health, because right now all the help they're getting is from TikTok.
Oh, right.
they need, serious professional help with the discretion as well. Now, we do know that you have a family, you have a beautiful family. You have a 9-year-old and a 16-year-old, two beautiful girls. Now, juggling family life, work, at the same time going out and campaigning for re-election. How do you balance all these?
I'm very fortunate to have a husband who helps. Oh, wow. And I'm going to tell you, it's very difficult when you have children if you don't have a spouse that supports you or a partner that supports you. Emotionally, mentally, sometimes financially. And he helps now my 16-year-old is pretty independent. She drives, in fact, she wants less of us to be involved, but obviously that's not going to happen. But for my 9-year-old, of course, she still is very young. So when I can't do something, my husband does. He steps in to help me, and it is difficult sometimes because I miss out. I will miss out every now and again on a school play. I will miss out every now and again on, if she needs help with a project. But my husband has been a very good husband, obviously, and a very good father, and he steps in. I try to be there for my children as much as I can. But the one thing I want them to understand is that I'm running for office, not just for me, not just for the public, but for them, because I want them, as two young women to understand that as women, as girls, we can do everything and we can have it all. It may not be easy. Trust me, it may not be easy, but we can definitely, if we can't have it all, we can try to have as much as we can.
Wow.
And that takes work. And that takes sacrifice. But I want them to understand that nothing is out of their reach if they want it.
Oh, that's a beautiful message. And I think this message, not just for your girls, for the young girls in our community, it's like, especially being a trailblazer, the first female Pakistani to be elected as the Justice of the Peace here in Texas. All the girls in our community, these are offices that you can aspire for. There are women who are trailblazers, who are actually working on breaking this glass ceiling. And to the other members of the community, the elders, the people who arrange all these fundraiser and events, it's time to come out and support the right candidates. Of course, we're going to allow you to speak to our audience directly as well. Judge Sonia Rash, up for re-election. Tell us about the election dates. Tell us what you're standing for, and the camera is yours.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So I am, again, Judge Sonia Rash. I'm your Justice of the Peace in Precinct 3 in Fort Bend County. We have redistricted. Now, what does that mean? That means our precinct in Fort Bend County for Precinct 3 has gotten very large. So if you live in Sugar Land, if you live in Needville, if you live in parts of Richmond and Rosenberg and Meadows Place and Pleak, you are now in Precinct 3. If you are not sure of it, you can always check it up online because there are maps online. But what I want you to know is that please look me up. My website is www.judgesoniarash.com. If you feel like you can, please donate to my campaign. It's it's not very easy all the time to get donations. Everything that we do costs money. What I'm speaking of is our road signs, our yard signs, advertising, our t-shirts, everything costs money. And not only do I get that by paying for my own funds, which I'm happy to do, but any help, even if it's $5, $10, I would greatly appreciate. Now, election days are early voting, February 17th through the 27th. That's early voting. And election day for the primary is March the 3rd. March the 3rd. I'm asking everyone to please come out and vote early. Why? Because if you wait till March the 3rd, with our weather these days, we don't know. Will it be raining? Will it be snowing? What it will look like? And those lines are long on election day. So there's no need for you to wait in line. And obviously, if you cannot go to the polls and you've got a reason, you can also request a ballot by mail. You must request that online. You could also call the elections office and request that ballot by mail. That way it can be mailed to you, and that way you don't have to come and stand in line for any of those days, but you will have to do that fairly quickly. So I'm hoping I can get everybody out there to please come out and vote. If you ever have questions for me, please don't hesitate to contact me. I put my phone number on my card. It's 832-444-0679. I want everyone to know that I want to be accessible for everyone. If you ever have any questions, if you ever have any ideas for me, let me know. I am happy to hear them. Thank you.
That's fantastic. And Judge Sonia, tell us about the studios as well. How did you like the studios? How did you find our team? And, because people get to see what's right in front of the camera, but what did you see behind the scenes?
Well, I'm going to tell you, this is one of the most professional studios that I have ever been on, because not only is it beautiful looking, but the people that work here, they were not only friendly, helpful, and just walked me through the whole thing, basically. Wow. Tell me where to look and where to sit. And of course, I felt very comfortable with you.
Thank you.
And that is a big help to people, to make yourself, you make the other person feel very comfortable. And I really appreciate you doing that.
Thank you so much, Judge Sonia. Up for re-election, and you got to do your duty. It's your responsibility. It's your right as well. Go out and vote if you're eligible to do so. Now, with this, आज का ये episode of Tea and Talk comes to an end. आज की हमारी guest थी Judge Sonia Rash, up for re-election, और International Art Society की ये podcast Tea and Talk आप YouTube पे देखते हैं, Facebook पे देखते हैं. Like कीजिए, comment कीजिए. And thanks to the producer of this podcast, Basit Jalili, जिनका International Art Society brainchild है, जो आपके लिए cultural events लेकर आते हैं. Now, अगर आप शामिल होना चाहते हैं हमारी टीम में, बासित जलीली को कॉल कीजिए. And a special thanks to our tech team. The director for this podcast is the one and only Sohail Nawaz. And Faisal with our tech team is on standby as well. Thank you so much. अगले episode में आपसे मुलाकात होगी. Till then, bye-bye.